Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. Today is August the 1st, and we've talked some about the dog days, and we're definitely still in those days in the garden. You know, those days in the garden instead of where you're watching things grow, you're kind of just watching them die. It's so sad. And you wonder, well, why am I doing this? And it's so hard, and I just keep going. I know some people just go ahead and let it die. And I think about it, but I also hope that I can keep going. I want to keep going. I know I'm whining because it's just so hard, and I'm so tired, and more than just tired, I'm weary of it all. But I know if we can hold on, some of this will be beautiful again in the fall. And I'm showing you this one like this is one of them, and it may be, it's still looking pretty good, but it may not be, because things are succumbing to the elements daily out here in the garden. And absolutely, I felt like succumbing to it all too, and giving in. But where would you give in? Because, you know, there's so much out here. It would be terrible to try to get rid of it all. Would be harder than to try to keep it going. And the truth is, it will look good again. I know right now it doesn't look it, and that's the same way. The garden is so much like life is, because it's the same way we are. We get to a point sometimes where it just doesn't look like it's worth keeping on going, because it's never really going to get better, but it will get better, because fall will come. And I know right after that a freeze, but that's when we'll rest. We'll have some downtime, and that's also a precious time also, when we can rest. Just trying to get these pretty summer onion allium on here for you. And these little zinnias were looking so bad that I decided, well, I'll just clip them off. And actually I did save those for seeds, so we're already started on saving seeds for next year. That's another fall thing, and a good thing. But I thought they would and they have rebloomed, but they look all faded out. The others were so bright pink and white, and now these are just so faded, and you can tell the foliage is just ratty looking. It looks terrible. So even when fall comes, some of this may pick up and go, but a lot of it, if I want it to be pretty, I'll have to put something new in here. Sometimes that's a good time to bring in the pansies, because when it gets cool, they like it, and they will stay all through the winter if you water them, and if we just get enough water through the winter, they'll live. I usually don't. I don't. Just leave that usually out of there, because when it gets winter time, I'll try to cover up things and protect them as best I can, and then I'm just going to wait till spring. But in early spring, I'll be out here again, Lord willing, and start over. These are the pretty surprise lilies that just come up on the stalk and then have this beautiful showing. They're called surprise lilies or magic lilies, and they're also called naked ladies because they don't have any foliage, but they're beautiful. I have mentioned before, but the crepe myrtles, they will stand the heat. They love to show off when the heat is on. And they may very well be the only thing, definitely one of the only things that look beautiful. Even these beautiful zinnias, they lose their freshness and they begin to just die out. Their foliage becomes all ratty. If they will be enough of them left there, I will clip these back and they will refresh themselves if they haven't gone past that. But I was looking at this in a former post and it looked so great, but the things in the back had not yet filled out, and I see that some of those things are totally gone. They're totally dead, but this one little one is still alive. It'll have a chance to fill out and be beautiful. There's, I think, a little periwinkle down there too, so it could still, and if this pretty little cigar plant or Orchidea will live. It's having it rough though. It's having it very rough. But if it will live and the cooler weather comes, it will be beautiful again. Also, this little plant that I put, I'm so glad I took a little piece of it off and put it in this pot because it's alive, whereas the main little plant is maybe not alive, and it may come back from the root too. Don't always give up too soon on your plants, but it may not be too. This little coleus was totally wilty, looking so bad last night when I watered, and it did perk up from its watering, but it will be back down to wilty, looking terrible by the time I water again this evening. And you can see that the zinnias on this side are just wilty, not looking good at all. We will see what they might do later, though I do know I need to clip all this off. I'm not going to do it right now. It's just too hot. I will come out when it does get some cooler weather and clip these all back, and we'll see. I've had them to come right back and look beautiful again, but also I've had them to go ahead and just continue on in that direction they're going and be gone. So we'll just have to see what will happen and enjoy nature as it comes. I did notice this little butterfly weed plant has bloomed again. This is the second or third time that it has put on a little flourish of bloom. That most of my containers are looking like this. Just really bad. I doubt if these will come out of it. Of course, I'll try. We'll see. They could be. We could be out here all excited about it again. That would be great. And did I mention that the butterflies love this little plant? Not only is it a host plant for the monarch butterfly, many butterflies just totally enjoy it all through the summer. It even looks like this little zinnia here has picked up some from last night when it looked so. But I do not believe I will go with these little pots anymore, except when I need one, I want to have them there to use. But to actually get things started in them and expect them to make it through the summer or, you know, all through fall, it's just not feasible for this hot weather. And these, I'm going to either get something, a large pot to sit here, or maybe even some deeper, larger pots to sit on the, if I can find some that will fit and sit on the little shelving. I do like the way it's stacked, that stacked look. But we'll just have to see, because some of this has got to go. I've got to do something differently. I tell my husband I'm going to cut back every year, and yet I just pretty much keep doing the same thing, but not altogether. I totally have started getting rid of some of the invasive plants, And I did put succulents in these little pots. I am trying, and I'm going to try very hard to keep on going until I get there where I can, actually I will plan on putting succulents in some of those small pots that I want to keep, and then other pots I'll plan on putting them away and not even having them sitting out here for the spring to tempt me, and just go ahead and put them away and put a bigger pot there where hopefully I can put some pretty plants in them, and they'll have a better chance to have more water and more room for their root, and hopefully just to do better. This is one of the little pots I was looking at in some of the end of June, and it was beginning to fill out and just look gorgeous. And now look at how faded even this beautiful coleus. It was so bright and pretty, and now it's just looking, the whole pot is looking like it doesn't have much of a chance. And some of this I will lose, I'm pretty sure, but some of it may fill out and go ahead and look good again. We'll see how that will go. But there's, I think, places like this. In fact, I might make me some notes that I just need to, when I get to things that don't look good during this season, to put succulents in them, because they can be pretty, maybe not as colorful, but they still look better just because they're able to withstand some of this heat. But my castor bean is doing great. It's getting some of the water that I've got. I have some hoses laying around that I'm using for soaker hoses. I just poked holes in them. All my other attempts to get soaker hoses to work just will not work with my gypsum that's in the water, and it comes out just a little white coating, kind of like a rock actually, and it just fills everything up, or stops everything up. It's great when you can see a little spot of beauty in the heat. And also, before I go on over there and look at those, I wanted to show you that this little pot is beginning to grow up a bit. These little plants are, and to bloom. There's a little bit of bloom, so I still have a chance to get this little 3-tiered pot to just flourish with pink and yellow. That's my plan. It has been for a while now, but if I get it this year, it'll be the first time I have. So, but it's looking like I may, and a lot of that is still due to our wonderful rains this year. It has been exceptional, but it's, when it left, the little plants certainly did not know what to do. Me as the gardener, I have not really got a good plan to water yet either. I'm trying, and I'm doing it every single day, but it's been so depressive to do it. But look at these beautiful hibiscus and the pretty pink parasols coneflower this morning, and actually the little zinnias that are coming up are looking great too. They get a little bit of shade over here, and it's made all the difference. They get enough sun, but that little shade that they get from the evergreen trees has made a difference for them. And they get some of that water from the soaker hose also. This little pot is beginning to grow up, and hopefully it will bloom and one day be very pretty too. And these little pots were looking so pitiful yesterday when I watered, and they've come out of it a little bit, but you can tell they're already beginning to wilt down. By the time I get out here this evening, they will be desperate for a drink of water. And I will feel like I was just out here. It just seems like it's come so quickly, but I know that's with every job, even the ones we make for ourselves. I think my little begonia is just saying flat out it's too hot for this. It's having a rough old time. And this is the little, I can't say the real name for it, but its common name is dumb cane. And I did give the rest of it to my sister. It did look so good, but the little ivy in it, I think it's not going to make it. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong. They can come out of things you wouldn't expect them to be able to, but I'm just hoping the rest that her plant will just look great. And I'm hoping this one will too, and it has. It's done very well for me out here. And my neighbor gave me a couple of plants that I probably need. I'm sure I need to give them away. I just don't have room to bring them all in. They're houseplants, which I don't do well with anyway, but mostly I just don't have a good spot for them. My house is more dark and there's not a good place for light. I do have some plant lights that I've hooked up to try to keep the ones I have, but I guess I don't want more. The one is like this one. I think it's called a dragon tree, Dracaena, and this one is a variegated one, but hers is, the one she gave me is it's very big. It's quite a bit taller than this and has, I think, 4 or 5 of these little tops out on it too. So it could be very pretty. Someone that really knew how to take care of it, and she loved it. She's moving, so she had to go ahead and leave it, but she was wishing she could take it with her. I wish she could too. This little sweet potato vine was looking like it was ready to give up the ghost last night, but now it's looking like it's ready to try again. So I'm hoping I'll get to that point where I'll start feeling like trying again. I'm not wanting to give up, but a part of me is feeling it for sure. And that happens, it just happens in this summer heat. And when everything is just not seemingly to respond, and you just wonder why you're even out here doing all this. But we'll remember when fall comes. We'll remember. I hope this little coleus will keep going. It looks great. There's been a few times it's looked pretty wilted down too, but it's always came right back. So if it will keep doing well, it will be another one that we'll be able to look at and watch shine for the fall. And this little pink polka dot plant has done well. Some of my double petunias have done well, but they're suffering in this heat. As is everything else, of course. This little pot will have to be redone some way. It just looks so terrible. I water it every day, but it just is not enough. And this is a fairly good size depth and has enough soil in it that I would think it would do well, but it just doesn't. You know, this might be another place I need to put succulents in and give it a chance, a better chance to be pretty. In the post I just watched, I was so excited about my little scarlet runner bean. I had 3 of them here, and I think every one of them are gone now. There's a little stem of one right there. But I doubt if it will make it, and the snails have gotten those. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I had also shown you that I had a little seedling coming up here that was one of the large flowered marigolds, but a snail also got it. I have planted some more of the larger marigolds. These are a little different variety, but still big and pretty if they should make it. But right now it feels like it's too light for anything to make it. But if we have a little bit of a long fall and some nice weather, they could still come out and be big and beautiful. But they may not also, of course. But the succulents are lovely. Most of them are. Not all, but most of them are looking very, very pretty. This one is Chinese dunce cap. My Mexican sunflower is also looking kind of wilty, but if you will notice, there is a bud on there, and it won't be long till hopefully we'll have a pretty bloom if the grasshoppers don't decide to get it before I see it. Even the things that do look beautiful don't look quite so beautiful from the perspective of sweat running into your eyes. Vicki also gave me this little or big pot, so this might be one of the pots that I will exchange for a bunch of little ones and put my flowers in bigger pots and hopefully give them a better chance. I know the smaller pot that I have that's this shape in the back has pretty much always done well for me. And I was going to tell you, since I saw this over here, that most of these did not make it. They just didn't, and I started late, so I may keep these here just a little bit longer and water them and see. But I don't think anything's going to happen now. I'll probably just throw all this away. But I did get some Terenia, and I have those in places, and I did get some Esperanza. This is one of the little Esperanza plants that's coming up here, and there's a piece of a zinnia, that has actually fallen off. But this may do well, and it is in this little clay pot, so I will bring this in. I'll probably just take that zinnia out of there because it's an annual anyway, and I may save some seed from it. But I will keep this pretty Purple Heart or Wandering Jew and this little Esperanza in this pot. Should we be able to keep them for years and watch them grow up, they could be so beautiful. And this is one of my little Terenia plants. So it's getting some shade there, which is what it needs. And hopefully it will go ahead and grow. And maybe next year I'll get those started earlier. Although I usually do wait till last on the seeds because I like to get things from the nurseries going where they'll have enough room to begin to grow. This, of course, is the foxtail lily. And I had kept these petunias off, and they did come back. They're still not looking good, though. It's just so much heat for them. And it will be interesting to see if cooler weather will be able to save any of this. Or even if they will make it to cooler weather. I know some of this is gone. I'll just have to clip it off and use these for seed, and then we'll see what happens. But this is a little wonder right here and I hope I don't speak too soon and lose it, but I've got a fan flower and a calabrachoa that's still in bloom the 1st of August. And it's so wonderful. And I was showing you my 3-tiered planter in the back, and this is my 4-tiered planter in the front. It looks like it's not doing much of anything, but you can tell that it is beginning to. These little plants are beginning to fill out a bit, and some of them are beginning to put on a bloom. Hopefully I'll be able to save this one through the hot part of the season and into fall where it can shine. These around it are some of the little pots that I hope to not have around next year. I hope I'll just have something big here, or a big pot where they can live a little better, or just have these gone and not here. Even though I will keep them some because I do love, isn't that just pretty? Just a little pot full of purple glow flower, the Gomphrena, and then this one just the zinnias, even though they are waning because of the hot weather. And I believe that these little tall plants in here with it, I think these are marigolds. And honestly, I don't remember ever seeing a marigold just grow straight up tall. Usually they spread out, but we'll see what these will do. They do have buds on them. I'm pretty sure that this little pot is another little pot for succulents only. This is not doing well at all here, and yet if it were cool, maybe I'll put some of these in the shade somewhere next year and then hang them back up for fall. But I'm not sure. I like something there all season, so I'll probably put succulents in this little pot and just let the succulents grow and be pretty. I remember in the spring planting this, thinking this would be so pretty when it bloomed out, and it kind of all bunched up on one side, but it is pretty. This little Mexican flame vine is beginning to open. So it was 104 degrees today, and I'm feeling miserable. I'm sure this little garden is feeling miserable too. And you know, I even started wondering now, why am I doing this? Trying to remind myself, because I'm sure there's a purpose. But look what came out. I just now noticed that when I came out to water, this is the blue and white penstemon that I put in this spring, and I had another one, the white and red or pink, and it did bloom in the spring, but this one didn't. But here it is, giving it a go in 104 degree heat. So thank you, little penstemon, for restoring my faith in gardening. So I thought I would take another look at this one over here, and it also has a few little blooms, but they're pretty much faded. They're more white than they are pink and white. But that's pretty awesome, trying to bloom in this heat. Way to go. Wish I could be more like you. I think we have a new bloom. I'm sure we have a new bloom. Let's just see how pretty it is, or if the grasshoppers have already found it first. And this is, of course, a Mexican sunflower. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.